Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Saif's vlog, and we had a great squat and deadlift this week. He was feeling really under the weather, a severe headache, everything else on his bench press day, so he just kind of skipped it for the week and, took those days off and just went straight to the deadlift so that he could do his training weeks the way he normally does. And because, quite frankly, his upper body's pretty jacked and he really wants the squat and deadlift to go up. So that's what he chose to do with the week in that situation. So squatting went pretty good. Keeping in mind this is a 90% training max week. So with 162 kg on the bar with the safety bar, he did 6 reps. Okay, 6 reps. For my American friends who only know freedom units, that's just over 350 pounds. It's getting up to about 360. He did 6 reps with it on the SSB. All right, we're getting pretty good here. All right, keeping in mind, I have him classified as an intermediate. People say that though, and they're like, as big and as strong as he is, how can that be? Due to training time and the rate of progression. All right. He's never actually trained nonstop for a year straight. He's never actually done it without taking a couple of months, several months off in between. Okay. So he's only done a couple months of consistent training at a time, then missed a month or two, for maybe a couple of years. And then he hired me. Now we've been able to push through nonstop. Now he gets a lot of inflammation. We deload a lot, and we've talked about that in the vlogs. But at least he's not getting injured. Since he progresses pretty much on a weekly basis, most of his lifts, he actually seems to get stronger every week, gets stronger every training block. He's not an advanced lifter. All right, he's not an advanced lifter. Doesn't matter how much weight he's got on the bar. Now, again, keeping in mind, this is the SSB. This is the hardest bar there is for squatting out of the normal bars we use. Okay, then he does his back off work, his assistance work. We do, again, 5 sets of 10 with the buffalo bar. Working at 50% of that training max. Now, of course, this is quite easy for him. He just wants to use this bar to get used to it. And I'd love for him to go over to this bar full time. But he has goals. He's like, I really want to get to a certain level with the SSB. Just please let me do it. So I let him do it. Of course, it doesn't hurt his deadlift at all. All right. That SSB carries over really, really well to the deadlift. And I think it's helped him a lot. So afterwards, what do? We do belt squats. All right. And he does these belt squats. And he's getting up to a pretty respectable weight. Notice those are 420 kilo plates and some change. Americans, those are almost our 45s. They're 44-pound plates. Remember, 20 kilos, 44 pounds. Pound less than our 45s. So, he's up in that 200 plus pound range here. And you guys could extrapolate that. You guys see what I do on this exercise. All right, you have an idea. Your sets of 10 with 255. He's up past 200 pounds now for sets of 10. You guys know what I squat. So it scales pretty well. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we know he can squat over 400 pounds at this point. Like, no problem. No problem at all. But we do, again, buffalo bar squat for back off, and we do the safety squat, which we need more traction, stuff like this. And that's the biggest problem we run into on this program. There's so much axial loading on this type of system, so much loading. And it's kind of what I nicknamed this kind of the work mode system, I guess. Although I guess I could call conjugate that. I've called everything I've done that. But some of my clients have started calling it the work mode. The squat, bench, deadlift 3 times a week using roughly 5-3-1 type programming. Now, of course, he's cheating a little bit there on those final reps on that safety squat bar with the arm. All right, then have him do some seal rows. All right, we're sticking to most of his rowing on his squat and deadlift days. That way we can really, really hammer the pressing muscles because they're only getting hit once a week. So I want to really get in and get all that tricep work and delt work and everything on those days. So again, it lets us kind of hyper-focus there. All right, deadlifting. Because again, we skipped bench this week. Here's his ramping up. He got 180 kg for 6 reps. And he had reps in the tank. Of course, he's like, where am I slowing, coach? Where's my weak points? Here's where I think my weak points are. And I laugh, and I'm like, well, you're stopping so far from failure still with at least 2 reps in reserve that you can't really see them coming out. All right? We just need to keep getting his back thicker. You know, the glutes, hamstrings, all that stuff. Again, getting strong. His deadlift's going to be monstrous here real quick. And we're taking it easy with the deadlifting. I mean, all things considered, we always leave reps in the tank. And he only started conventional deadlifting when I started coaching him. He had pulled sumo. So now we're building all this up, and I really do feel like he needs more back and things. All right, it's definitely not his lower body limiting him. But yeah, he's an intermediate now, pulling 4 plates, 6 reps. Good position to be in. Afterwards, we take 50% of his training max and we do sets of 10. All right. Very similar to the boring but big type template. And that's usually what I do on this system for my lifters. Because I think that template always worked better for that system anyways. I've never been, how do I put it? I've never been impressed with the other templates on 531. I think the actual original for most people was the best variation. You know, and it comes down to that fact of the size, the boring but big. It gets you big. And others, you go call it boring but strong. Your strength comes from your heavy work, not your assistance work. Okay? It's not where you get strong. That's what the assistance work builds you bigger, which translates to more strength. All right? It really does. But the actual neuromuscular efficiency, neural drive, that comes from your peak set. Your plus set every week gives you that, and the ramp up to it. So to me, it's always been a waste to do some of these other templates. Just get thick. And he's thick. All right. So we do deadlift for assistance. Then he does weighted hyperextensions. And he supersetted these a bit with his band curls. We're doing the band curls for his tendons and everything. You know, and he probably gets some bicep out of it. Not unreasonable to think so. Again, all things considered. Considering how genetically gifted his arms are. Anything probably is making them grow, even the pump volume. And these really high rep with the bands at lightweight are giving him pump volume. And keeping in mind, we do all this other rowing. Right? We do all this rowing. So, he did supersets with these back and forth, just to give him something to do to shorten the time there. And then he finished off with his rows. Now, some people would be like, does it hurt his rowing performance? Well, it doesn't seem to, actually. Right? It doesn't actually seem to impact his rowing performance, so we're good. So after he does these, we then finish off with some more seal rows. All right, we finish off with the seal rows. And if I have to, I want to work in good mornings for him eventually. I'll work those in. But this is all working for now. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.